Meeting will come to order. This is the Wildewood Spring Condominium Association Board of Directors meeting for the month of January. Turn on your machines on.
Is it a new one?
Yes.
You might have to bring it a little bit closer here.
Confirmation of proper notice. Chris, you got it?
Notice was posted on 16th of January according to statutory requirement.
Roll call.
Okay, Roger Schultz.
Here.
Dick O'Dowd. Here. Leslie Jacobs. Here. Pam Flanagan's here. Dick Picola.
Here.
Finally. Paul Salvin. Jim Munson.
I'm here.
Steve Bull.
Here.
Claire Dewars.
Here.
Tammy Alburn. Here. Debbie Dial. Here. John Humphrey.
Here.
Sue Downs. Here. John West.
Here.
Here that.
The only comments I have is that I'm freezing. Well, it's cold out there.
It'll be worse tomorrow.
I don't know. Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I believe,
Endless.
just like I did, got your packets on Friday and had an opportunity to review the minutes of the previous meeting. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to accept. Motion made by Claire Dewars. Do I have a second from Cole?
I have a question.
Question on the motion?
No, on the minutes.
I've got a question on the minutes. Go ahead.
I think we've got a date incorrect on the minutes. In one place it says the annual meeting is on Monday the 9th, and then another place it says Monday the 10th.
Then it is the 9th.
It is the 9th.
Okay, where is that?
It's on the next to the last page of the minutes.
Page
It says this meeting is
Oh,
scheduled.
okay. So it's the 9th?
Yep, it is the 9th.
All right. As amended.
All right, motion to accept the minutes as amended. Claire, is that?
That's fine.
Thank you, for a second.
That's fine, thank you.
All in favor, signify by raising their hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item, John West, you ready to give us some treasurer's reports, please?
I have one here.
Thank you, sir.
As you know, we've got the main audit going, and there will be probably
John.
much more detailed.
Microphone.
Just push and hold.
Hello? Okay. There will be a much more detailed report on this when we come up on our annual meeting. At the present time, we're actually under budget based on several things that have come to our attention, and that is the budget is under for our administration by a considerable amount because of insurance purchases and budgeting more money than we needed this year, thanks to John. We're over budget in the tree trimming area. That's based on some safety considerations, so we're over in the grounds particular area. Buildings are under. Security is over based on the fact that we put in a new camera purchase program that we had not budgeted for last year, but that in itself will probably pay itself back in the 2020 budget. So anyway, the main key thing is we're in great shape. I think there are copies of the sheets that I'm reading from back there on the back table. Are there any questions?
Yeah, John, the item about the security cameras, that is not a budgeted item. That came out of reserve? No, that came out of the money from special.
Oh, I see. Yes, that's correct.
So, I believe we will have an issue with AAA getting that straightened out,
No.
moving the funds back and forth where it should be.
Now,
What's it now, John?
it wasn't in the budget, but since we had an expense and it is for security, John Scott, our auditor, told AAA this is the way he wanted it done. So in the mainframe, we were under budget for the year for $34,000, even though we had a $19,000 camera expense. We could have been $2,000 more. But it's done according to what the auditors want.
But it's not over budget. Security budget is not over budget.
Well, okay.
What you have to say, Sue?
Yeah, you know, I brought this up to John at our last meeting, and I don't understand, like, And he explained to me why, that they aren't doing the accounting to reflect those things, but I think when they come up with the final, because right now we're still showing that we took off $20,000 plus out of the income from the Spectrum cable. Well, if we're taking it out of our budget, we are not taking out of that money that we got from Spectrum. Isn't that correct, John?
No, because the money from Spectrum was considered as extra income. So, you know, we have a budget for income, we have a budget for expenses. So our budget for, that's why it kind of balances out. But it'll all come out in the wash in the audit, and right now it is actually written as the auditor says.
I understand that that's written, but my concern is at the bottom of the page, we started out with $185,000 from Spectrum. And if you look at what we took away from that income, that $20,269.61 is being deducted from that $185,000.
That's correct.
But it's not really coming out of that pot, is it?
Yes, it's coming out of revenue as a whole. So our revenue is up because of the monies that were received, and our expenses are counterbalanced by the expense.
So what was the total cost for the camera?
19 and change, 19,300, something like that.
Okay, so I guess I have questions, because if you're saying on note number 3, you're over budget due to the camera system not in the budget of $7,088.77, and another $20,000 which came out of Spectrum, that totals up that the cameras would have cost $27.28, and that's not the cost of cameras.
I don't see that, that's true, I'm sorry.
Note number 3.
No, I see I mean, I don't see why it would cost more.
Well, the camera system you said was how much?
19.7.
19.7. So if you add together the $7,088.77, which is on the budget, plus the $20,000 that we took out of Spectrum, they come to more than the $19,700.
20,000.
All I can say is that we normally, until the final audit is written, we don't challenge it because we do not want to feel like we're influencing what the auditor is doing. Let's have the report. This is our internal paper number right now. Let's see what the report comes, and then we can discuss it at that time if it's okay with everybody else.
Well, I think the point was brought up that it's mentioned that the security is over budget, all right? And the cameras weren't a budgeted item for last year. But the cameras are basically a gift from Spectrum, for lack of a better word.
Right.
I think that's what the concern is.
Yeah, the concern is the cameras cost $19,700, and we got on this piece of paper 4 cameras, $27,358.38, which is excess of the $19,700. That's what I'm questioning.
Susan, I think you've got a point here. I think we're going to check with the auditor. I think it has to do with the accounting process that the auditor wanted to go through. I can see where we should have pulled that $20,000 and put it into the budget and then taken away from it, and we would have no decrease or overage in there at all. But they told us to do it in a different manner. But at the final audit, I think that's where you will see the budget is increased by $20,000, and therefore the subtraction from that budget amount will have no decrease or over budget process.
Okay, I just say that's a concern when it comes out. We have to make sure that we're not spending any more than 19.7 budgeted for the camera and where it's coming from.
I think we've got a couple other areas, Sue, I want to talk to you about on that, because a prime example would be monies that come in from new owners that are not deducted.
Yeah.
Sorry. That are not, monies that are expenses that we have for auditing people, for instance, the security check, whether or not they are not being overcome by what we charge the new owners coming in. So there's a few other areas where we have.
Yeah, because I thought that was all audited, properly. We'll check it out when it comes in.
Yeah.
But that is a concern.
Excellent.
Okay. Moving right along. John, you have accounts receivable? And legal issues.
Council Seabold on legal issues, that's correct. Primarily, the important one is the legal issues. The Unit 457 that is making timely payments according, I'm sorry, I was holding it down. The Unit 457 is making payments according to its agreement. Unit 702, we have filed for foreclosure against the unit owner. Unit 718, we have filed for foreclosure against the unit owner. And 762 has a lien.
702 has the foreclosure action, and 762 and 782 have liens, correct?
No, 718 foreclosure action was filed last week.
So that should be changed from lien file to foreclosure action?
That, I didn't get the confirmation until today, since it was filed last week.
Okay.
So up to date, we have foreclosure action pending on 702 and 718, with a lien filed on 762 with a promise of being paid.
Okay. Everybody make that correction?
Yeah, question.
Go ahead, Clark. What's the question?
I have a couple of questions. Out of curiosity, what is the amount that Unit 457 is paying?
They're paying $900 a month according to the bankruptcy court. So actually, we're going further into debt with each payment.
I was
each
going to
month.
say, so are they ever going to catch up? No.
Well, we didn't set, the bankruptcy attorney, or bankruptcy court set the amount. So, I suppose sooner or later, no. At this rate, they'll never catch up.
Okay, and on 762, why was just a lien filed when the same date for 718 and a foreclosure action was filed? Because 762
It
owes
will
more.
come within the next 10 days, Claire. It's just a timing matter of when it was filed.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on legal issues? Move into the old business, the status of the second floor walkway renovation.
Okay, we've, as you know, we finished one, and we finished two. 580 is now finished. Both of those first two cost us about $5,600. We're currently halfway through the renovation of 436 and 437, and we've started 582 now also. So it's moving along. There'll be no structural repairs on 436, 37, so it should be a little bit lower in cost. And when we opened up the 582, we found that there was some internal damage with water seepage. Interestingly put, I did doing an inventory or doing investigation, or as you see me ride around, I look at different things each time. I actually found 6 units, 3 in Sherwood and 3 in Pinehurst, that don't have scuppers. So they have no way to release the water, and the water's being trapped up there. I don't know if they were ever installed or if they were covered up at one time. So we're going to be putting temporary openings there to relieve the water.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Anybody?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Leslie.
What units in Sherwood?
Not yours.
No.
No, I don't know if I have it in my notes here. I do have it, but I don't think I have that pad with me, sorry. No, I do have it, I do have it. I can give you the units. I have it on my phone. Units 127, 165, 167, 144, 201, and 203.
Anybody have any other questions? Okay. All right. Removal of the black rubber edging is a progress, it's ongoing process.
Okay, all of Pinehurst has been taken care of, all of Cluster Y has been taken care of, which is oak. All of Springdale's been taken care of. Today they're working on Sherwood, and that should be finished by the end of the week. By the end of next week, all rubber matting should be, or edging should be removed from everywhere.
All right, let's have the bad news. You and I had the discussion during the week about our liability insurance based on this.
Yeah, two issues that have come before the association. One is the insurance companies have the right to subrogate back against the association for any claims lost if it can be determined in court that it was the association's responsibility. We have been sued by one insurance company, Universal Insurance, which insures a lot of associations in Florida. They're out of Fort Lauderdale, and a lot of owners within our community. And any of the owners that had any problems with the stack pipes where water integrated into their unit and filed a claim, which were usually pretty high claims because of the mold and mildew, because it took a long time to discern whether there's an issue there or not. They came back and sued us, and they won in court each time for an average of about $9,000. So the claims were over $50,000. Our insurance company has paid in those type of claims, and there still might be some more forthcoming. They have 5 years to file a claim on this before the statute of limitations run out. Also, we've had 2 slip and falls that were quite injurious to the 2 ladies that fell. They had extreme medical bills, especially the facial injury. And because of that, our liability insurance company will not renew us this year. I mean, if it had just been the slip and falls, as bad as it would be okay, or if it was just the subrogations, it would be okay. But put them all together, and they've issued us a notice of non-renewal. That premium last year was $17,000 for our liability insurance. The best quote we're getting right now is $34,000. Coupled with a marketplace of all property insurances are going up an average of 12 to 20%. We're going to be very stressed this year in our insurance budget.
Welcome to the world. Okay. Got any other good news?
Yeah, okay. Later on I'll tell you that we passed our fire inspection.
That I know, yeah. That I know, yeah. So that doesn't mean you can go out and fire. We already have one. We don't need any more. Okay. Here we go. The Hatfields and McCoys. Boundary clarification with Tidewater.
Yes, some interesting things have developed. Number one, the report should be, I'm sorry. We received our contract, we signed the contract. They promised to have the survey done before the end of the month. I can report that I don't think Mr. and Mrs. Turnwald are here, are you? They are? No. No. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Turnwald, 733, were kind enough to donate $500 to the association to help underwrite the cost of the insurance. And so, having that in mind, our $2,000 is now less than that. And once we get it, we'll know exactly where we stand, and hopefully the report will be positive in our way. Incidentally, Jim, you may want to report.
You want
to add on to Friday night?
Yeah. Friday night, about 10:30 at night, I got a call from security who had gotten a call from one of our owners. Got a tree, a large tree had come down across the roadway of Oak Drive. Security called me up, and I pulled it up on the cameras. And what they did, I said, well, that's basically not our property. That is Tidewater's property. However, they left one of their security officers. There was a team of 2 Friday night. There was a trainee. They left the trainee there with flashing lights going while the other officer went back to the maintenance shed. He got traffic cones. In the meantime, I called Jeff in at around 10:45, because it was a rather large tree that came down. And he came in at time and a half to remove the tree out of the road. The concern was someone could be leaving the property on Oak Drive, not seeing that tree down, and run into it, and cause damage to themselves, and damage to the vehicle. So, I was debating all weekend, I debated with John this morning about generating an invoice. What it cost to have that tree removed, the additional man hours and manpower, and have that invoice also sent over to Tidewater based on the fact that there's property line issue. Now, that was my first thought. My second thought was, being a good neighbor, we could send that invoice, and then at the bottom of it, consider payment in full for what their tree cost us on that property dispute on where that property lies. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna figure out what it costs to do it, let them know that it was their tree that came down, and just let them know. Because I could have called their president at 11 o'clock or midnight and let them know, hey, you got a tree down on the roadway, it's gonna be an issue, but we handled it. We took the stance of being a better neighbor, as opposed to putting somebody in their chest and assaulting management. So, that's bringing you up to speed on that issue with the Tidewater Association boundary lines. Go ahead, Dick.
I have an understanding that maybe federal law and state law says that if you take care of a piece of property for a certain period of time, that you can claim that I don't know what the terminology is, claim that property as yours because you've been taking care of it for so long and never been asked not to take care of it. I'd like for that just to be no action at this time, but for that to be some consideration, particularly since now we've taken care of a tree that is theirs, that's on that property line.
Well, that's absolutely correct. There is a law on the books stating that the assumption of ownership is made when we take care of the property. And speaking of Jeff's been here almost 25 years, and that property that is in question has been taken care of by us for that amount of time. Can it get ugly? Yeah. Do we want it to get ugly? I don't think so. I don't think we want it to get ugly, but I think we want to take the correct legal recourse that we have. The first part is to get the azimuth shot by the surveyor. We can let them know that their tree came down and that we took care of it and see what the response is, but
Why don't we offer
I'm being optimistic by saying that, yes, we can submit the bill, but I'm being pessimistic in the fact that we won't hear anything about it.
I'm not advocating for that right at this time.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it on the table for consideration that depending on how this thing flows in the relationship, that we do have that consideration as an option.
Exactly. John, you want to?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, that I'm not at liberty to, because there's no confirmation yet, to expand on this, other than the fact that there has been some positive conversations coming out of Tidewater that we hear. We don't know anything yet, but I think it may be not as adversarial as we might think.
Well, I would hope so. Okay, any further comments, questions on that issue? We are moving along with the survey. That's a guarantee, that's a definite. All right, hourly employee Christmas collection.
Yes,
Very
this
successful.
year was very beneficial to the men and Catherine. They sincerely appreciate the donations. Catherine Wolf, Francisco Avalera, Jose Centro, Eddie Chavez, Ed Dixon, Alfredo Cuada, Jose Vargas, Jeff Weaver, John Mercer, Jim Sell, and Jacqueline Bucalamini each received $1,300 this year. Thank you very much.
why don't you run with that one, please?
At this very moment, we have 29 people who have signed up for the courtyard sale. It will be February 8th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. In front of your condo, your villa. If you have an upstairs unit, you are able to use one of the car parks in front by your condo. Does anybody have any questions pertaining to it? Yes, may I help you?
How many, you said there's 29 registered this year?
Yes.
How many was there last year?
By the end, I think we had 40. Usually Friday before, as soon as
Everybody
I put
jumps up, yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I put the list out on the mailboxes, I get 10 more people every year. But it's going great. I'm all excited. People have given me really positive feedback at present when I sent them a note saying, you know, you're signed up and some of the things that you can do. But one thing people do forget is to have a cash box or cash single dollar bills. Somebody will send you a $20 bill for a 50-cent item, and then you don't have anything to give them back. So either have money in your pocket or have a little cash box, and also bags. People buy a couple of things and they're on their bike or they're walking and they don't have a bag. Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy.
Jim?
Go ahead.
Tammy, just for your record, just before I left the office, we had one more call in, so now you have 30.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, Steve, you ready on this? The building committee's report regarding the front courtyard gate. Oh, well, let's do that now. We'll just skip over it, so courtyard side, okay, no time.
Going back to the audit?
No, just go with you and now go back to the audit, Steve.
All right, you maybe remember about a year ago, the board voted down the front gates for pets. There was petition signed, a certain amount of people, so it was put back to the committee, the building committee, to look at something that we could come up with that maybe the board might reconsider. So we've done that. We came up with a gate that's, you can buy it in different sizes, on height-wise and width. They can be put up across your opening. That we decided that this particular one, keeping with everything in uniform, would, be possible for the board to vote on. So you've got it in your packet. My thought was that if the pet and the owner were both in place, when the owner goes inside, the gate should come down. That's just my thought, because if it's out there without somebody and it gets out and goes out and bites somebody, you're going to be liable. So, anyways, you see it in the packet. My contention, if the board would like to vote on that, to be acceptable or not.
What is the building committee's recommendation on it, Steve?
We came up with it. It's up to the board to vote on it.
I have a question. Is this now, it just folds like between the building and the front wooden part? Is that, where does it go exactly?
Yeah, if that's what they have
And
as far as an
it's not attached to
opening.
anything?
No, it's not attached to anything. It is available. You can get some feet for it and make it more stable. But it folds up into 3 inches thick and.
And it's sturdy enough that the dog's not going to jump on it and push it down.
Well, I don't know. It depends on the dog.
Yeah.
That's why I say the owner should be present with.
Just a point of order, before we get into discussion, I would need a motion to accept it. So we get into discussion mode, then go into the vote. So, at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to accept. John? No?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I
You have a
move
motion?
that we accept the gate as
Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second?
That's like,
Motion made and seconded, it is now open up for discussion.
Is this a motion to accept the report or accept the
Motion to accept the
gate itself?
the gate itself,
Okay.
Scott.
seconded. Now we're up for discussion. Steve, you opened this can of worms.
Yeah, I did, and now as a board member, not a committee member anymore, we just had all these legal problems with people falling on their sidewalks, which we are liable for, and now we're gonna put something else in their way for that to happen. That's my only concern. And egress.
Okay, Debbie, what's your concern?
I have the same concern. I worry about if somebody were to go inside, answer the phone, or whatever. Amazon comes along, dog jumps up, bites a guy at Amazon, we're all liable.
Yep.
Are we gonna have waivers for the people to sign?
Wait something.
Well, I know that, but, you know, so I don't, mine basically was, this is opposed to an attachable gate, so that there's no damage to the building? Is that
Mine.
The attachable gate is not an issue. It's not accepted because of the bylaws. We would have to change the bylaws for anything to be attached to the building or the fence.
Who else? John?
I'm concerned in regards to number one, the liability issue. Number two, we really haven't put into any kind of, anything in this proposal about the rules and regulations based on, number one, we have a pet out in the front where all the traffic goes by, so we're going to have barking, we're going to have a lot of other things. In the back courtyard, they are encased in an area where they can't see strangers, so we don't have noise, and we're not having the noise projected into the living areas of other people's homes. So, as I like the gate, that's one thing, but there's a lot of issues of putting a pet in the front courtyard, not meant for it in the first place.
Sue?
Yeah, John, just to back up, there have been people who've had this gate in the front, and if our concern is they're gonna bark, they were barking then too. I mean, people have had it. They just took them down because we said they couldn't have it.
But that's a complaint we had, Susan.
We have barking complaints?
Yes, that's what caused the issue of this.
I thought it was a different style of gates that was the issue.
One thing led to another, but yes.
I thought it was a different style of gates.
All right. The chair will recognize myself for the time I need to express my concerns as a board member. My concern is, like what Debbie's there, concern for the liability issue should the dog, for the convenience, you can put your hand down, Jog, it's gonna be a while. For the convenience of an owner to leave their dog out front, which again, if it's gonna make noise, which most dogs do, when somebody comes by, except for the one breed of dog that doesn't bark. Then the fact that it could bite a delivery person or someone visiting, it's not attached. The other concern I see on these gates is that you're gonna hear, and we're gonna hear, okay, well, I live upstairs, why can't I get the gate across the stairs? Which is gonna be an issue too, another safety issue. Okay. And, great, I'm a dog lover myself, and I make friends with a lot of dogs on the property. But to have one out front, open walkway like that, courtyard, with an alleged security gate, which is not gonna secure it very much. If an animal wants to push it down, they'll push it down. I don't care how big the dog is. I don't think it's a good idea. Larry, you have something?
I don't,
I reserve my time.
I think part of the reason, you can't hear me? Hello? I think part of the reason for having a gate, if you have a dog, and I'm speaking from personal experience, my dog is a runner. If she gets out, she runs. And forever. So we had, initially when we put the gate up, we had it there so that if she got out, she couldn't go anywhere. You know, I'm not so concerned about the liability, because if there's a gate, people shouldn't be putting their hands over it. But anyway, that's just my thought.
Call for the question, please.
I call for the question. At this point, we're going to do a roll call vote. Motion made by Pam to accept the building committee's recommendation on the,
They didn't recommend anything.
The style. The style.
Okay.
they recommended the style.
Okay, but they didn't recommend that.
They recommend this particular style that's in your.
Okay.
So we're not,
Does that include having the person out there, is that part of the motion with their dog?
well, see, that's the issue.
Well, that was what that guy over there
Yeah.
said, that was part of the
Manatee
motion.
County says you can't have a dog without a leash, on a leash. Your dog has to be leashed. Manatee County dog. You're outside with the dog, and that is supposed to be on a leash.
So that's part of the recommendation or the motion.
No. Can't read the motion.
I don't have it written down, but the motion I made was just to accept the style of gate.
Seconded by,
Not to accept putting up the gate, but to accept the style of gate. Because wouldn't it have to go to the rules committee?
just a lot has got to be done.
Yeah. So if a gate is allowed, that would be the style. This is not a vote to accept the gate. It's confusing. Okay. I rescind my motion.
Okay, now, I'm gonna be the bad guy. I'm gonna exercise my right as director representing Springdale Drive. I move that no gate be installed in front of the units downstairs regardless, any type of gate. Well, here's a second by Dick Nicole. Discussion on the motion. John, take your card down.
I think the initial process that we were starting to work on this gate was, I think the building committee was asked to determine whether or not we should even allow dogs off a leash in the front courtyard. And that was, I don't think we ever got to determine that, did we? Did we ever vote on the fact like we are right now?
Well,
I don't remember.
the thing of it is, it's in the rules, and it's a county ordinance.
That we can?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm in total agreement with it, but I thought I don't even know if we decided whether they could or not.
The building committee, for clarification, is tasked with the mission to go ahead and investigate the fact, can a gate be put up, attached or unattached in front of the unit?
Yes.
Okay? That's it. To allow dogs to
And
have
if so, what
access.
gate too is the other part, right?
Right.
So I
So
guess,
did we determine whether they could be put in the front before we even saw the gate?
The documents determine that you cannot attach a gate to the building, period. The documents stipulate that.
Good.
The building committee went further to see if a
If we did.
temporary gate could be done.
Okay, good.
Okay? So, the motion still stands.
so I can ask the question.
Go ahead.
The apparent goal here is to have the animal outside. I would think it would be advisable for the owner to attach something to the wall or something, and that the dog must be on a leash attached if he's going to be outside. That the idea of having a gate that could be collapsed or anything, I think is dangerous to us in terms of liability. We've already got some problems in that area.
Well, we already determined the fact that nothing would be attached to the wall.
You can't attach it.
And even, in other words, so that the owner would have to be outside actually holding the dog. No, that's okay, I'm asking for clarification. Thank you.
I guess my question is, and I think if we were just gonna say no dogs, because you can't, why did we go through all this work? I don't understand that. I would have just said, don't even look at a gate.
Question's been called for once again. Roll call vote.
Okay, the new motion is no gate to be installed in front courtyard area for dogs to be contained,
Whether fixed or
whether fixed or
temporary.
whether fixed or temporary.
If you vote yes, you're for the motion. If you vote no, you're against the motion.
May I ask a question?
No gates.
Sure, John.
No gates, okay. Are we also saying no pets in the front courtyard off a leash?
That's not the
county's law, and that's our rules. In our bylaws.
I just want to.
Okay. Motion reads as follows. No gate to be installed in front courtyard area for dogs to be contained, whether fixed or temporary. Call the vote. Roll call.
All right. Roger.
Yes.
Dick.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Odell. Leslie Jacobs. Yes. I say yes. Dick Picola.
Yes.
Jim Munson.
Yes.
Steve O'Boul.
Yes.
Claire Dewhurst.
No.
Tammy Alborn.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Debbie Dial.
Yes.
John Humphrey.
Yes.
Sue Downs.
No,
John West.
Yes.
Who was the second no, please?
Sue Downs.
Sue Dennis.
Debbie?
No.
And
Steve
And
O'Boul.
Claire.
Claire, okay,
Like
thank
Claire
you.
and her.
Motion is carried. Puts that to rest.
Does that mean, just for clarification, they have these kind of things you can put in the ground and put a dog on a leash?
It says no gates.
It's not a gate.
The motion is no gates, period.
But I wasn't
Temporary
talking,
or permanent.
I wasn't talking about a gate.
Doesn't say anything about the pegs, the stakes in the
If you
ground.
put a peg in the ground, put a dog on the leash, it's okay to put it in the courtyard.
Unless the dog, until the dog's a nuisance.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, that's, I just wanted, as someone who has to potentially enforce rules, I just want to be clear. Okay, so no gate, but they can still put the dog out there on a peg on a leash. Okay.
Until such time that the dog's a nuisance. That'd be a different issue. Okay, next item. Thank you, Steve. 29th. Meeting will come to order. We done? 2019 Fiscal Association audit is in process now, as you've been told.
Yes, that's correct.
John Scott was at the office on Friday, all day, well, almost all day. Starting the process, he'll be back, I believe, in 2 weeks. Is that correct, John?
He'll be back in 2 weeks, and all the letters have been sent to the various agencies that we deal with as far as the attorney and the banks and the accountants, requesting information pertaining to the audit should be done on a timely basis.
Again, clarification on the audit. When the audit is completed, at the beginning of the audit, there is a 2-page disclaimer, a page and a half, almost 2-page disclaimer. And it's put out by the auditing company themselves. Whether there's been discrepancies found or not. Can we have one meeting, please? Thank you. Whether there's discrepancies found in the audit or not. There was some concern that past few years that disclaimer cover letter looks the same. Well, that's true, and that's good. But the same verbiage is used by the accounting firm for any audit that they do, whether it is anything found or not found. If there was something found that is scrupulous or needs further investigation, or if there was something found on the up and up, there would be a different letter posted in front of the audit. Does anybody understand that? You don't.
What are they disclaiming?
It's a disclaimer that is put out by the accounting firm that according to the practices and business practices of the Accounting Association and the laws thereof, that we have found no issues with this particular audit. It is done every single time, every audit that I've been involved in, every time, every year. Am I not correct on that, John?
Correct?
And it's called a disclaimer?
Do you want to see?
It's a disclaimer, it's just a form letter that's put out there. Have you ever read an audit?
Yeah.
Okay, in the front of the audit, there's a page and a
The
half
only reason I'm
disclaimer.
asking, because to me, a disclaimer letter says they're not responsible for something.
That's also true. But according to them, according to the CPA's business and practices, this particular, yeah, this
Less than
particular,
this.
this is what year is this, last year?
That's last year.
Yeah, 18. It's a disclaimer, for lack of a better word. It's 2 pages long. But every year, it's the same thing.
Just disclaim everything you can say.
Just saying everything is okay. There's a problem with
If there was a problem, that wouldn't be there. It's the first 2 pages.
It's the first sentence on the second.
Now, that's them. That is not us putting this out. So whatever verbiage they use, it's their issue.
Because it's their report.
It's their report.
Right.
That has nothing to do with us as far as their disclaimers, but, or their cover letter, or whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it.
it's not a disclaimer. I don't think it's a disclaimer.
Whatever you want to call it.
It's just a.
What would you like to call it?
No, I don't care what it's called. I was confused because to me a disclaimer says they're not gonna accept responsibility for any mistakes.
That's also in there.
Well,
Go ahead, Leslie. Let's get this out here. because it-
Here, I am a semi-professional nitpicker, proofreader, editor, and for 3 years I have noticed that at the bottom of the first page of the auditor's report, it ends with a complete sentence. At the top of the second page of the auditor's report, it starts with an incomplete sentence and the blah, blah, blah. And to me, that sets off all kinds of excitement that I have had a major sloppiness by an auditor. Now, I think it is sloppy, and I think the auditors should just correct this easy correction and add the beginning of the sentence on the top of page 2. The fact that nobody else has ever complained about it except for this professional nitpicker means that it is not that important, I guess. But to me, it is way up high in my list of things to do, and that's to find such errors. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one. It's not an incomplete sentence. There's a comma. There is a verb in the last sentence on the first page. Then there's a comma separating that from the compound sentence. No, it's a comma.
I could be wrong.
You are. That's a comma. It's a compound sentence.
Chris,
separated by a comma.
please.
I would like the board and John to ask the auditors to provide us with a digital copy of the report.
Yes.
I asked for that last year and I never got it. So we can't put a searchable copy of the audit on the website without a digital copy, not a scanned copy, a digital copy.
I didn't realize you asked for it, Steve,
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah,
I will
you
certainly
did.
get you one.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
My mistake.
Digital, not scannable.
Right, we need a digital copy from the auditor so that we can put that up and people can search and find, auditor's it's a pretty big report, so they can find what they need to find on it.
Bear with me.
5th grade teacher.
Yeah.
Special ed teacher, I was wrong. I apologize. I hate saying those words.
Enjoy here.
Nobody's perfect.
Are we satisfied? We all satisfied?
Yes.
The bottom line is, in the past 6 years, almost 7 years now, our audit has been, everything's been done above board, everything's been transparent, and there's been no issues found. And that's one thing that you should be grateful for as the owners, okay? that the management, the board, different committees are very aware of the funding, your dollars, and how it's spent. Okay? Annual meeting.
Annual meeting.
John, why did you put that damn thing on the agenda?
The annual meeting?
No, the audit.
Yes.
Jeez. Okay, the annual meeting is March 9th,
Not the 10th.
not the 10th, March 9th.
Which is Monday, which will be right here, and there'll be an election. There's an election in each village for one position and a director at large. Intent for run forms, should anybody wish to run for the board, must be filed by 3:30 Wednesday the 29th. So far, we've had Sue Downs, Dick Nicola, Dick O'Dowd, Debbie Dial, and Tammy Alborn, have filed. Any questions?
Just going to add to that. The annual meeting is a meeting for the owners. It's not a board meeting. It's where the owners get a chance to partake in the meeting themselves. There will be committee reports, or committee chairs are required to submit a report on their year's activities. If you're going to be here, fine. Just make sure you're going to have the report ready. If not, you can submit it to me and I'll make it available to the owners. Following the annual meeting, there'll be a transitional meeting of the board of directors, and then the board meeting following that. Under new business, we got communications. John, I know you got a couple of them.
Yeah, two communications were pertinent to this. Two communications, one sent to owner Woodrow, 311 Springdale Drive, regarding his issues with operating his vehicle. He has not responded to me yet, as of yet. Secondarily, I had a verbal conversation with the brother of the owner of 272 regarding the interior of her unit, which seems to be accumulating various materials again. So we'll be working on both of those as we go forward.
Okay. Got manager's report stuck in here somewhere?
Yeah, I'll put it in here. The village entry signs have been replaced with higher signs for better visibility. Once the wood is cured, they'll be painted.
Okay.
Reconstruction, actually I can report now the reconstruction of the dumpster that was damaged by a vehicle. A couple months ago, we finally got our money from the insurance company, and the dumpster crib was rebuilt this weekend and an invoice processed. Two carport posts, one in cluster S and one in cluster N, need to be replaced. I sent a picture of the one in cluster S. Subsequently, we have sanded it and painted it so it doesn't look like it does in that picture, but it shows you what deterioration can happen to our posts. I'm in the process of contacting a fabricator, metal fabricator, to see what it costs to get these two posts replaced. Finally, as we reported earlier, the yearly inspection by the Manatee County officials have been conducted, and all of our property passed without exception.
John, I have a question. In cluster E, the fence is taken down, and then I noticed that the cement underneath, is there a reason?
Yeah, the FP&L took that down without telling us, and I noticed it Friday, so it's on the list to do this week. What happens when the transformers are in each cluster that feed the electric, if there's a problem or an issue or service, because they're enclosed, the ordinances say that they're not supposed to be enclosed, but that we do that, or it has been done for, to hide things. They have the right just to come in and knock them down, and that's what they do. So then we have to rebuild them after they come in.
Anything else for the manager? Committee reports. There's Pete. I see you over there, Pete. What do you got in the towns?
We're still in the process of getting rid of all the rubber and plastic edging on the property for safety reasons. I took 3 beds under signs with test plantings, so I'll find out what's gonna work good, and then we're gonna get to the rest of the boxes, because quite a few of the boxes, I had the guys clean them out, they were looking kind of tough. So we'll see how these 3 work out. They're all on the boulevard there. And continue on from that, we had Brown in last week to cut down some dead trees, and they're coming back. We have to get them to come back to do some trimming in big trees. And John and I go around once a week, sides, backs, fronts, to look at all our plantings. Now that we're ahead of the curve, to keep up with them. If we see anything wrong, we report it right away and take care of it, so we don't wind up like we were 3 years ago. And we also have a donation of a jacaranda tree and 2 more benches that we're determining where would be the best to put them, so everybody will see them visible. They'll be visible, and as soon as we decide, we'll notify everybody.
That's it. Any questions for Pete?
Yeah, Pete.
Go ahead, John.
I had a neighbor come and ask me about these vines that we have that are coming for cupping some of the trees, and I don't know what kind they are, Pete, at all, but they're at the top, Spring Lake, and up in that area is one area, and then down by the exercise pool. Are those affecting the plants that they're crawling and living on, or should they be pulled down, or what?
We pulled quite a few of them down, and that's another thing that's an ongoing process, where the guys trim or get in that area, they're pulling them down. They don't affect anything, they're just a nuisance.
Is that something that if they pulled them down, it would cause a problem, the neighbors, I mean? That's the question they ask. Should they pull them down, or should you let the crew?
Let us know.
Okay.
And you know, we'll take a look, and if it's fine, yeah, sure. I mean, they won't, hurt anything, but I just want to know first.
They're pretty easy to grab.
Yeah, they're just more of a nuisance.
Some of the snakes that live in them may jump on you, though.
That's all right.
All right, IT, Chris, you got anything up?
Yes, and I want to use the microphone.
Sure.
The committee met just a week and a half ago. We will have another meeting in late January. Last Friday of the month is our normal meeting date. So if anybody's interested in coming to one of our meetings, why, we welcome them. I would like to point out that we have a classified ad area on the website. And recently we've had a little more activity. And so there's a couple of very nice automobiles that have been put on there, a Cadillac and a Mustang convertible. So if you're interested in a nice car, well, you might want to take a look at our ads. You can add your ad to the site. You don't have to give it to anybody on the committee. You can put it on there, and one of our committee members will approve it. So, and you can put pictures. You can put, I think, as many as 5 pictures on your ad. So if you want to take advantage of that, why, we'd welcome you to do that. We're also looking at some other ways to maybe put some things on there that you might be interested in. And one of the things we may consider doing is some photos of plants and trees that we have here in Wildewood Springs. And so if anyone would like to send us some photos of those either plants or trees, why, you may do so. We'll start an album along those lines. We also have a pet album. We had a lot more success with the old website. We probably had about 80 pets on the old website, but with the new one, we probably are only at 25 or 6. So for whatever reason, people haven't been submitting their pets like they did with the old site. Again, you can do it yourself. You do not have to send it to anyone. You can just go on and put your picture of your pet. Tell us a little bit about how friendly they are, Claire. And so we're just trying to find ways to get more people to take a look at our site.
Chris, do you suppose that since some of the gates are gone, the pets have run away?
Thank you, Chris. Before we go any further, Roger, my thanks and gratitude for the new, doing all the research and acquiring the new.
We'll tweak it as we need to.
That's right, as we need it, so thank you.
The only mic we've heard is over here.
I use this one.
They haven't heard it.
I heard it.
All right, well, like you said, work in progress. Brandon,
Nothing
we'll
coming
tweak
through
it.
this one?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Now it's better?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we need to hold this one a little closer. Okay.
All right, building committee, anything else you want to throw anyone?
Yeah, I got one thing.
Go ahead.
In the workshop meeting, we talked about the water bill. John, how much more was that last month than normal?
Last month was about $2,700 over the normal bill.
Okay. Have them check the meters?
Oh, yeah. That's being checked, and as a matter of fact, it was even suggested today, and it might be something we want to consider, is put in a meter after their meter to verify the flow going through it, and to make sure that we have a count, that our account matches their account, or, you know. So we're looking at many issues there.
Go ahead, Steve.
All right, well, I know in the workshop there was a lot of talk about all kinds of things, including putting a meter on every single unit, which is crazy. So, but I was in the plumbing business. I owned my own company for 27 years. There is tablets that are available, and I think Jim and I, one of the two of us, can find them. I might be able to find them in the plumbing supply house, that you can drop in the top tank of your toilet and wait 15 to 30 minutes, and if you see any blue dye show up in the bottom, that means you got a flapper that's leaking. And it's amazing that, how much water can actually go without you even knowing it. And I've seen private owners, I've seen their water bill go up by $100 to $200 because they got a leaky toilet and they didn't even know it. So the board is thinking about possibly getting some of these tablets, making them available to everybody so that you can put them in your top tank and see. That way you can either, replace the flapper yourself, or get a plumber, or even, I think Jim was talking about maybe having one of our guys be available at a nominal fee to come over and replace your flappers for you. Because, that's a big bill, and you never know. We could have a half a dozen or 20 or more toilets leaking and you don't even know it. So I just wanted to bring that up, and I think Jim and I are gonna look into it a little further and see if we can't make the tablets available at the office for anybody to pick up and put in and find out.
So one of the things we did find out, that the tablets come in packets of 2. For 500 packets of 2, costs us, the association, $150. Okay, that's for 500. That'll cover 500 units, and that's just one price that we found. Thought process also being that prior to the annual meeting, we can make these available at the office. We can make them available to the owners that didn't get them. And speaking with John, we can keep a running tab of who has gotten them and what have they found. And here's the reason why. 20% of the annual budget, 20% of the annual budget is for water, sewer, and waste removal. And a lot of people might have to think this way, saying, well, heck, I'm not paying for water, so what difference does it make? Folks, you are. You are. And the way the water situation is going with the county, 3 years ago, we were advised of a percentage increase based up on 4% this year, 3%. This year was 4% again, wasn't it, John? 4%. So the thinking of the board at the workshop was that we get everybody on board with conserving water. The alternatives are, if we don't do this, the alternative is gonna be that next budget year, your maintenance fees are gonna go up. The other part of it is, the thinking was that installing individual meters to each unit. That's a cost of each owner of about $300 per unit. And then after that, there's a $25 fee stands as now with the county for a backflow preventer certification that the owners are gonna be required to do. Again, the thinking is that we don't wanna go that route, definitely don't wanna go that route. But we're appealing to you, the owners, and we're gonna bring this out again at the annual meeting, to do the best that you can possibly do to conserve potable water. The other water that we use is reclaimed water, and that's for the irrigation. So we're gonna ask, we're gonna try and put this out there and have everybody do due diligence on conserving water to help bring down the water consumption here on the property. Does everybody understand? John, did I make myself perfect? The other thing on that too is if we go the route with separate billing, county's not gonna bill you. That's gonna have to be under the auspices of the association to get a separate billing company, which again is gonna cost you more money out of your pocket in the long run. To pay for a billing agent, to go ahead and individually bill each homeowner for the water usage, and then you gotta hire meter readers, a lot involved. So we're gonna appeal to the owners from this point on, conserve water. We will do what we can to help you, just do what you can to help us. Everybody understand that? Director's comments, left to right, John Humphrey.
Hey, how's it going?
John's doing good.
Well, we can put the plows where there's no snow, so.
It'll be on freezing stuff. Steve.
I'm good.
You're good, who has it? Roger, go ahead.
I just have a question for John, on the village signs, John.
Yeah.
I noticed there are some where there were no electricity nearby, so there are no lights on them. Will they reinstall some solar lighting so those signs are lit up?
They will all be lit when they're finished.
Okay, thank you.
Who else was that, Tammy?
No, nothing.
Nothing? Debbie? Did it out? Pam?
Nope.
I just had one question, John. We're making changes on light bulbs that we discussed. Did we put any of those bulbs in on the boulevard at all, that we could just see what they might look like at night?
Not as of yet because of the inventory of the lights that we have, but yes, they'll be forthcoming very soon.
Okay, just so I thought if we could see what one looks like, we'd have a picture of what's going on. Thank you.
Yeah, good point.
Yep, thank you.
Doesn't?
Nope.
John, what?
Just to say that number on sewer and water is like $290,000 a year. So it's a big number, it's one we can do something about. We're using it good, but I think we all feel that there's a little bit more being charged to us than we actually are consuming or using. So that's one we all have to look at.
Okay, owners' comments. Joe, you had your hand up.
You answered it, he answered it.
Okay. Owners' comments? Yes, sir. Who are you, first?
Dick Isbell, 328
Dick, how are you doing?
Good.
Haven't seen you in a while.
It's not snowing. What's the status of the paving of the parking lots?
The who?
Paving of the parking lots.
Paving of the parking lots.
Right.
Good question. We are at, we got to three buildings, right? 2 buildings.
This will be looked at again. The next scheduled paving is the Wildewood Springs Boulevard itself next year. But because the deterioration of some of the parking areas, we may want to switch that and move up to 3 that we have still waiting. Right now, there's no plans this year other than resealing the ones that were done 2 years ago to keep the fines in place. We've been collecting money and spending about $180,000 a year, and we have to catch up now to finish. So there's nothing scheduled this year.
So well, I'm an I, and we did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T. Yes, and I'm just wondering,
The reason
Where we
for, the reason that it did in that sequence was that our consultant engineer that does the work recommended those as the worst deterioration. The good news was yours was one of the better ones coming last. But like I said, having reviewed it now, I would like to think that maybe we could hold the boulevard for another year and do the internals.
okay.
So the internals would be I, J, and the office area. It would be the internals.
We're not worried about the office too much.
But
seriously.
They don't do anything anyway.
Yeah. We've got three parking lots that haven't been done, and they should be done maybe before the boulevard. But we just have to collect the money, right, Sue? We're trying to hold a reserve collection at $500,000 a year, and that obviously is paid for the maintenance fees. If we increase the collection for reserves up to $550,000 or $600,000, then of course we could advance these projects a little quicker.
Really, you own Scotch? Yeah.
Patricia Trine on 158. I've got a question about security.
Go ahead.
We moved into the community last April.
Okay.
And I think shortly after that, you switched security companies, is that right?
December of 2018 we did.
And we used to see them a lot. I don't see them at all anymore.
You don't, do you? Where's
Not
your-
at all.
Where's your Unity face?
158 Pinehurst,
Where's your aluminum face?
right down to the road, right out to Wildwood Springs Boulevard.
Out to Wild Springs Board, you don't see them flashing their lights at night? Make sure they come by, they get themselves visible. I see them all the time.
The other night, we were out and came home and had several people in our cul-de-sac standing outside.
Yeah.
They wanted
What
us to
night
share our
was it?
culverts.
Thursday, I think.
Evidently, we had somebody in the cul-de-sac or in Wildwood Springs that was going around door to door, knocking on the doors, asking for food.
It was Friday night.
It was Friday night.
Friday night.
Friday night?
Yeah, we got a report on that from the guard, and the guard report that when they were notified of it, when they went to the person who was gone.
So if we have a security issue at night, who do we call?
Well, something like that,
You're
down
given
911, first of all.
Well, for something very emergency, it's always 911.
911.
But when you all were interviewed, I gave you a refrigerator sticker that has the guard's phone number on it. That's who you want to call.
Call them, they never respond.
But
Something like
911
that.
is always, I mean, even if you're not, I mean,
Something like that, someone knocking on the door, that's always a 911 call.
Well, thank God we've got a police officer who lives in
Well,
the
you-
Navy.
Not only is she a police officer, she's a first female SWAT officer in Madison County. I don't know if you knew that. She's an awesome lady. SWAT, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, she's a tough cookie. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of her. But no, seriously, 911 for situations like that. We've had it before that, I want to say it was March, where someone had escaped the mental health institute here, first escaped from there and was running around on alcohol, went to all the properties, but was apprehended on alcohol. Sheriff's Department and our security forces work in conjunction because our security patrols know the property better than the Sheriff's Department. But all the time, something like that, 911. This individual was knocking on doors, trying to take a shower, or using somebody's garden hose and stuff like that. Always down. Then after that stuff, please dial the security officer's number. Sometimes they are on the property when the calls are made. Sometimes they're in close proximity. Fortunately for us, the company that we hired had picked up 3 more properties in our proximity. So there's more of a presence. Sawgrass Cove is one of them. The Big Lots shopping center, that's another one of them. So there's more officers at any given time in our general location. Again, 911, then call the security officer. Sometimes they could be there faster than the sheriff's department.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other questions? Next meeting, February 11th, 2020. Workshop will be at 10 o'clock at the office. Board meeting will be February 17th, 2020, right here at 2 p.m. at the church. No further business coming forward to the board of directors. Motion to adjourn is always in order. Be safe.